Heartbeat Alaska is brought to you in part by Coca-Cola.
Can't beat the real thing.
By the generous support of the Alaska Native Health Board. And Heartbeat Alaska is brought to you by the Public Information Office of the North Slope Borough.
Welcome to Heartbeat Alaska. I'm Jeannie Green, bringing you Native news across the North. Thank you so much for joining me. On today's program, we travel to Borough, Alaska, at the top of the world for the North Slope Borough News. We travel down to Southeast Alaska to Sheldon Jackson College for the Gathering of the People, an event held the first part of this month. We'll be seeing Yupik dancers and Yupik, Athabaskan, Native American, and Tlingit dancers. We visit the village of Akhiok on Kodiak Island. All that plus much more. But first, here's Gary Fife with Native news across the nation.
Thanks, Jeannie. This is Native News Across the Nation. I'm Gary Fife. In a historic session, leaders of the nation's tribal governments heard what President Clinton has to say about his administration's overall commitment to the government-to-government relationship with tribal governments. In a special White House meeting on Friday, he discussed how topics such as national health care reform would impact Native Americans. Alaska Intertribal Council President Willie Kasaile, who is also president of the Akhiok community, was second on the list of natives to address the 2.5-hour gathering. He focused on native hunting and fishing rights, management of natural resources, and environmental degradation. The Clinton administration has been criticized for a lack of action and for major budget cuts to the Indian Health Service, all the while making a pitch for national health care reform. Apparently, those criticisms have been heard, as in recent days, the Secretary for Health and Human Services, Donna Shalala, has announced a restoration of some of that money. In his address, the president reaffirmed the government-to-government relationship, supported tribal rights to run gaming operations, and said he'd like to be able to sign a new American Indian Religious Freedom Bill this year. In making his commitment public, President Clinton signed two measures, the first calling for easier access to eagle feathers for Native Americans for religious purposes, and the second for his administration to improve their consultation with tribal governments. Congress has reauthorized the Federal Marine Mammal Protection Act to allow commercial fishermen to accidentally catch marine mammals and to ensure that those fishermen would have a say in plans to protect those marine mammals. One of the benefits for Alaska Natives is the requirement that the Secretary of Interior show substantial evidence that the federal government is correct before it takes any action or publishes any information that might impact native subsistence hunters. Nothing in the bill either reduces or increases the rights of Alaska Natives to take marine mammals for subsistence purposes. The bill does contain provisions that will allow travelers to take or wear apparel or jewelry made from marine mammal parts out of the country and bring them back in again. Under the reauthorization passed by Congress, the Secretary of Commerce will establish take reduction teams made up of various user groups, including natives, to recommend plans geared toward recommend plans to reduce the mortality rates of marine mammals that interact with commercial fisheries. Changes to put more teeth into the American Indian Religious Freedom Law have been debated on Capitol Hill. Natives have called for broad changes in the law which would permit easier access to religious sites and eagle feathers, protect Native prisoners' religious rights, and protect Native use of the cactus plant peyote. The Assistant Secretary for Indian Affairs, Ada Deer, told a Capitol Hill panel that the administration supports a bill that protects only federally recognized tribes and not all self-identified Native Americans as stated in that legislation. Other opinions on the subject ask why smaller tribes such as in California should be denied the same protections. Wings of America, the successful Native youth motivational group of runners and athletes, has launched a new program for the year. The National Championship Caliber Running Association has put together a new effort called the Native Emerging Elite Development Program. The idea is to serve as a continuing source of support and funding for Native runners who demonstrate Olympic-style potential. It hopes to be able to help Native runners who are in need of support after their collegiate competitive days. One-time mortal enemies, now they'll be sitting down together as fellow warriors. It's a symbolic proclamation of peace between the descendants of those who fought on both sides of the Battle of the Little Bighorn. Members of the Sioux bands, the Arapaho and Cheyenne tribes will travel to Fort Meade near Sturgis, South Dakota for this historic occasion. Indian Country Today reports the tribes will be joined by members of the 7th Cavalry Association and that group will represent their ancestors and present replicas of the cavalry unit guidon flags carried by the Army troops in 1876 to the assembled Native warriors. The groups will meet on June 25th, the 118th anniversary of the Battle of the Little Bighorn. And finally, in Alaska, the Governor's Commission on Rural Village Economies and Needs will be holding a series of teleconferences in May. The Raven Commission, as it's known, will be asking Alaska Natives for their recommendations for rural economic programs and to help with self-sufficiency for villages. Information on the teleconference can be obtained from the Department of Community and Regional Affairs in Anchorage, and on May 28th, a public meeting will be held in Bethel. This is Native News Across the Nation. For Heartbeat Alaska, I'm Gary Fife.
Thank you, Gary. I received many letters here at Heartbeat Alaska, and I love every one of them. Some of them mention my set. Someone recently said, Jeannie, your set's kind of boring. Well, let's do something about it. If you have a piece of art, a native mask, for instance, or something interesting that you think would enhance my set here at Heartbeat Alaska, send it in and we'll try and fix things up. If you have any other suggestions, please feel free to let me know. We'll be back with more news right after these messages.
Baby, baby. One, do you know the difference between HIV and AIDS? I don't want to see. Two, how safe? The virus does not discriminate. I stay here in my heart. I think we're dying.
These kids are learning what to do in case their clothes catch on fire. Do your kids know about stop, drop, and roll?
This message was brought to you by the Yukon-Kuskokwim Health Corporation as part of the National Community Volunteer Fire Safety Project.
Help the Soil Conservation Service help our Earth. Call us today. We owe it to our children.
Let's travel now to Borough, Alaska for news from the North Slope Borough. North Slope Borough Mayor Roger Malutin Sr. recently traveled to China to sign a cooperative arrangement between the North Slope Borough and the Chinese Academy of Sciences. The arrangement paves the way for 3 projects on the North Slope. Beginning this spring, a study of ice structures of bowhead whales and other Arctic mammals, a global warming study based in the Borough area, and a television documentary called People of the Arctic to be produced by Chinese television.
We want to get more scientific people back here to the Borough area. As you remember, 10, 20 years ago, the Naval Arctic Research Laboratory had many scientists here, and they not only helped us learn about the Borough area, but they contributed money to the local economy. When the Naval Arctic Research Laboratory closed, most of these scientists went away, and they've been very slow about coming back. So this is a way to get more scientists to come here.
A side benefit of the trip was the opportunity for Mayor Ahmaogak and the Alaska Eskimo Whaling Commission Chairman Vernon Rexford to meet and present the position of the AEWC to China's representative to the International Whaling Commission. The representative said that he would seriously consider supporting the AEWC's position if scientific evidence shows that bowhead population is healthy and can support such a harvest. The 1972 Indian Self-Determination Act, Public Law 93638, empowered Native Americans to take back control of their lives and future by contracting for services they received from the Bureau of Indian Affairs and the Indian Health Service. In Alaska, Native nonprofit organizations now manage many health and social service programs. On the North Slope, the Arctic Slope Native Association is beginning the process for taking over the PHS hospital in Borough that serves the North Slope.
The development of a 638 contract for operating the Borough Hospital will bring several benefits. It will not only enhance the operation financially, but it allows for local control and also lays the foundation for the improvements to the healthcare delivery system as a whole.
ASNA already provides services under contract with both the BIA and the North Slope Borough, and will be moving quickly towards contracting hospital services from the federal government. They hope to work with all relevant agencies on the North Slope, such as the borough's health department, to see that the transition occurs smoothly with no disruption of services to anyone. April 18, 19, and 20, the statewide Native Youth Olympics was held in Anchorage, with students from all over Alaska participating. In preparation for NYO, a district meet was held in Borough consisting of participants from all the villages on the North Slope. The first place winners went to Anchorage to compete in the statewide NYO. We are happy to announce that the North Slope team took 5th place for overall competition out of 44 districts statewide. Madeline Gallahorn of Point Hope also took the Most Valuable Female and the Sportsmanship Award. I would like to congratulate the students who participated in Borough and the traveling team for their hard work. Bob Aiken and I were fortunate enough to be coaches for the North Slope District team, and we feel that NYO is very important and it helps in keeping some of the traditional ties going.
Some of these kids have a natural talent. Some of these kids are already participating in World Eskimo Indian Olympics as of today, and I'm proud to pass on the tradition that our ancestors gave us to just pass it on to the younger generation, and exactly what we're doing.
A lot of preparation, that's for sure. A lot of running, exercise, you know, everything. Yeah, lots of practice. It is a good experience for me, and I enjoyed it, and I think I'll participate next year.
Mayor George Ahmaogak Sr. has developed a program to promote teachers across the North Slope. The Public Service Message campaign is designed to emphasize the importance of teachers and their dedication to our students for their future.
I think it needed to be done to give that recognition to all of our teachers, to give them that support that is badly needed by our communities. And I think this is one effort that we're going to be giving that strong message that all of our communities should support all of our teachers.
That's our news from the North Slope. We hope you enjoyed it. For Heartbeat Alaska and the North Slope Borough, Kodiak.
Let's travel now to Southeast Alaska, to one of the most beautiful cities in Alaska, Sitka, Alaska, not just because I was born there either. Recently, in the first week of April, they held the Gathering of the People, and gather they did. Yupik, Inupiaq, Athabaskan, Tlingit, and Native American dancers. Let's take a look.
Hello to Heartbeat Alaska. I'm Thomas Solomon from Borough, and welcome to Sheldon Jackson College 4th Annual Gathering of the People here. And we'll do come on and come on. Just have a blanket toss and dance groups and everything. So, hello Heartbeat from Tommy. Come on inside and join the fun.
Heartbeat Alaska from Sheldon Jackson.
Hi, from Sitka.
Oh, and he says hi too.
Okay, hello. I'm Ollie. I'm down here visiting Sitka for the students of Jackson College to Eskimo dance. Do some Eskimo dances here. I'll see you at Anchorage.
Hi, I'm Michael Shoemaker from Kotzebue, Alaska. I'm down here with my wife at Sheldon Jackson College.
Okay, easy. Save your strength. 1, 2, 3, 4. Adosuk, Ahmaogak, Pinnasit, pull. Adosuk, Ahmaogak, Pinnasit, pull. Ahmaogak, Pinnasit,
Thank you so much for that video from Sitka, Alaska. We'll be back and visit the village of Akhiok right after these messages.
Inu piangisa Alaskam koverigat inu nernek nunakirani inuit pilwilingarote mangak takun inu nernek sikarnak sivluni sikarnai lipayaklugo savalgotiningarot inung nun pilwilingaroanun savakpata ilisakumakpata piraknigugalwakli ilismapsaw kuven kokuraklugo una 800-770-0138.
Travel now to a village on Kodiak Island called Akhiok. There are only 100 people there, but they're very interested in their own culture, in maintaining it and teaching it.
The earth and the sea that surround Kodiak Island are generous to its inhabitants. Today's residents of Akhiok, a village located on the lower east side of Kodiak Island, depend heavily upon subsistence fishing and hunting. Species harvested include salmon, crab, shrimp, scallops, clams, ducks, seal, deer, rabbit, and bear. It was because of this bounty that the area around Akhiok was occupied by the Russians in the early 1800s.
You don't fall down going home, yeah. It's pretty dark out there. Here, Mom.
The community was originally a sea otter hunting settlement. With the decline of the sea otter industry, however, the village has become primarily oriented towards fishing. The Russian influence is still evident. However, the pride in Alutiiq culture remains strong, as evidenced by Alutiiq Week, held on March 29th through April 1st. All week long, their culture was celebrated and taught in the form of programs dealing with basket weaving, beading, carving, skin sewing, and learning the Alutiiq language and songs.
What are you making?
Yeah.
A sea otter. Oh, all right.
Beautiful. Gayung ka. We utstanga koni.
Alutiiq Week was also a time for the village to come together as a family group, encouraging unity with the elders and the young. The students came to realize the many hours that were needed to complete these tasks, such as skin sewing and basket weaving, carving and beading. For the elders, these were skills that were learned as a basis for survival. For today's Alutiiq in Akhiok, Alaska, the lessons learned here still mean survival, survival of their culture. Well, as usual, I couldn't do the story alone. I needed lots of help, and I'd like to thank Roger Malutin and his wife Susan for helping the story. Roger took the video. Also from Akhiok, Catherine Cook, who's a teacher there. I asked her for information, and she got it to me immediately. I appreciate that. And thank you so much, Luba Aluska and David Aluska, for your help. And thank you for joining me. I'm Jeannie Green, bringing you another Heartbeat Alaska. I'd like to urge you to register to vote, and please make sure you do vote in these upcoming elections. It's very important to us as Native people. Join me again next week for more news on Heartbeat Alaska. And by the way, the next program is aired on Mother's Day. That should be a lot of fun. Join me then, won't you? See you then.